So, let's start with a monumental question, really. How on earth do you govern a country as incredibly vast and diverse as India?
Just try to wrap your head around this for a second. The 2011 census in India found that people identified over 1,300 distinct languages as their mother tongue. So with that kind of diversity, how do you even begin to create a system of government that actually works for everybody?
Well, it turns out the answer, for a whole lot of the world's biggest and most diverse nations, India included, is a system called federalism. And it's a big deal. We're talking about a political structure that governs nearly 40% of the entire global population.
Okay, so that's the word federalism. But what does this federal solution actually mean? Let's break down what it is right from the basics.
At its core, federalism is all about dividing power. So instead of having just one government at the top calling all the shots, that authority is shared. It's split between a central government for the whole country and then various state or regional governments.
And this, right here, is the key difference. You see, in what's called a unitary system, think of countries like France or Spain, the central government is pretty much supreme. But in a federal system, the state governments have real independent powers of their own. One level of government can't just boss the other one around. For this whole thing to work, it's really built on a few key pillars. You've got multiple levels of government, right? And each one has its own specific areas of authority, its own jurisdiction. All of this is guaranteed in the Constitution. And this is crucial. You have courts that act as referees to settle disputes. And finally, there are clear rules about who gets to raise money and how. It's all designed to create a really delicate balance of power.
Okay, so that's the theory. Sounds pretty neat on paper, right? But what happens when you try to apply it to a country with the staggering complexity of India? Let's take a look.
One of the very first and biggest tests for federalism in India was the idea of creating states based on language. Now, at first, many leaders were worried this would actually break the country apart. But what happened was the exact opposite. It turned out that letting people who speak the same language have their own state has made India more united, and it's made day-to-day administration a whole lot easier.
And this kind of flexibility is just central to India's whole approach. Instead of forcing one single national language on everyone, the Constitution recognizes Hindi as the official language, but right alongside 21 other scheduled languages. This move has been absolutely vital in holding the country together.
The way this division of power works is spelled out in the Constitution through 3 different lists. Think of it like a rule book. The Union list covers the big national stuff, like defense. Then the state list handles more local matters, like the police. And then there's the Concurrent list, for shared responsibilities, like education, where both the central and state governments can make laws. But here's the thing. In India, federalism didn't just stop with the central government and the state governments. The next big, logical step was to push that power even further down the chain, to bring it even closer to the people.
This idea is called democratic decentralization. It's the principle of taking power from the central and state governments and handing it over to local bodies. The whole point is to make democracy a real, tangible thing right at the grassroots level.
And this became a constitutional reality back in 1992. 2 really historic amendments created a brand new third tier of government: panchayats for rural areas and municipalities for cities and towns. This embedded local self-government into the very fabric of Indian democracy.
So those huge changes officially came into force in 1993. That was more than 30 years ago. So what's the verdict? What has the real-world impact of this massive shift in power actually been?
Well, the results have been, let's say, complex. It's really a story of both incredible, undeniable successes and some really persistent, tough struggles.
So on the one hand, decentralization has truly empowered local communities and brought way more people into the process of governing. And maybe most impressively, it's led to the election of over 1 million women to local government bodies. I mean, that is a massive step for representation anywhere in the world.
But, and this is a big but, major challenges are still there.
the transfer of power from the states down to the local level has been really uneven. In a lot of places, mayors are just figureheads with no real power, and many local councils lack the most basic resources. We're talking office buildings, electricity, or even a reliable internet connection, which you can imagine makes it incredibly hard for them to get anything done.
So, after looking at the theory, the practice, and the 30-year report card, let's bring this all home and ask the most important question. Why should any of this matter to you?
This quote really just captures the whole thing perfectly. Local problems, stuff like your water supply, cleaning the streets, all that, are best understood and best solved by the people who actually live there. That is the fundamental promise of local self-government.
So you see, at the end of the day, this isn't just some abstract political idea. It has a direct impact on your daily life, which leads us to a final question I want to leave you with. How empowered is the local government where you live?